Hi, this is Bob Sorrentino from Italian Roots in Genealogy, and I'm here today with Darrin Lithgow. And there's a little bit change from what I normally do. And I have Darrin on because he's developed a super piece of software called the Next Generation or TNG. So welcome, Darrin. Thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me.
No, my pleasure. And I just want to say before we get into it that I've tried probably, four or five different software applications to build family trees or to put photos and things like that. But I find yours to be the best so far. So thank you for that.
Well, that's great. You're welcome. Glad you like it.
So what prompted you to actually develop the software?
It started a long time ago. I got into genealogy and I wanted to put my information out on the internet where other people could network with me. And at the time, and this was like the late 90s, the best thing out there was like a text-based program called GED to HTML. So I used that, but I found every time I wanted to make a change, I had to recreate all the pages all over again and upload them all, and it was just a little painful. So at that time, I also came across PHP for the first time and was just learning how to do database coding. So I thought I'm going to build my own. So I built my own and just used it for a little while. And then I thought, I bet other people would like this too. So that's where it started. And, every week almost, I get more suggestions from people saying, it would be great if you added this or change that. And so I write it down and I'm always adding updates and changes that come right from those user suggestions.
Well, that's perfect. Yeah. And what I like about it too is that I worked in IT for 40 something years for Chemical Bank and Chase Manhattan Bank. So I know a little bit, not a lot. I was more of a manager than a doer, but I know a little bit about, indexing and file structure and things like that. And the way you built this, it's super fast as far as, if you do a search on something or you run a report, I'm very, very impressed how quick everything works.
That's great. I'm glad it's working well for you.
Um, So, so you started this for yourself. So this is a work in process for like 20 something years then, yeah?
Oh yeah, yeah. I didn't make it public till like 2002, I think. But yeah, ever since then, it's just been constantly updating it, putting out new versions. So
Yeah, and I stumbled upon it through an interview that I did a couple of weeks ago, where the person I interviewed was using it, and I was wowed by it, and I said, "Where'd you find this?" Because I haven't seen. So we need to get you some more publicity to get more
that's
people using
great.
it.
I haven't really advertised anywhere. I relied on, just word of mouth and viral um, marketing. So yeah, any positive words would be excellent.
Well, I have a couple of Facebook. My Italian genealogy Facebook group has 10,000 people on it. So hopefully we get you some. And for people listening too, it's not expensive at all. It's very reasonable, the cost. And also and maybe you could go into it a little bit too. You also have somebody that'll host the platform, which is the way I chose to do it. Because I wanted to do it in the way that I think my listeners would do it. So you have a special host that's very reasonable too, the cost.
Yeah, there's a company called Simply Hosting, and the owner of the company was a TNG user, and he came to me one time and said, "Yeah, I think it would be great if we, made it easy for people to uh, who buy the program to set up their hosting, and because that seems to be the biggest pain point is to getting it all set up, and yeah, if they don't have a website yet, they need to get that started." So we thought, well, what if we had a package deal set up for new users, and they could get their hosting through you, and then you would install it for them. So if you go with Simply Hosting as your hosting provider, there's a form you can fill out and just request that they do the installation for you, and they'll do it at no extra charge.
Yeah, and it was quick. It was,
Yeah,
I think it was less than an hour or something like that that
they
they had it all set up.
they always
Um,
do it within the first 24 hours. That's great.
yeah, they said 24 hours, but it was actually about an hour. I was surprised. I wrote it
Amazing.
there. It was there.
Excellent.
And very and painless for sure. And again, they have a special rate for TNG users. And I think if my calculations are right, you could set up the whole thing and have it there for a year for less than $100,
Yeah,
which is extremely reasonable.
yeah, I think they give you a half off your first order, even
Mhm.
if you order or pay for a whole year at once. If you pay for the first month, then the 50% off doesn't get you much. It's
Right,
just,
right.
but if you pay for the whole year, then that's great, more affordable.
Yeah. So rather than me talk about it, maybe you could tell the listeners a little bit about how it works and what they could do with it.
Sure. Yeah. It's just a dynamic program, meaning like it create the pages as you request them. It uses a database. So when you say, show me Aunt Martha's record, it goes out to the database, finds Aunt Martha's information, and creates the web page dynamically on the fly, as they say, uh, shows you the information. So we don't have to store static files for all that, just the code, the script that creates those pages when you ask for them. So it makes it a lot more convenient. Like I ran into the problem with my original program. When you want to make changes, you don't have to recreate all those pages again. You just upload a GEDCOM file, or you can make TNG your only genealogy program, and then just log into the administration panel and make the changes right there on the website. And they're instantly available after you do that.
Yeah, and I think there's some, I don't know, 15 to 20 odd templates. So you could have the look and feel that you like, and you could change colors and do things like that. And add your own photos to it and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, and the more skilled you are, suppose you are skilled at HTML or CSS, anything like that, you can do whatever you want and change those templates, use it as a starting point. There's a whole lot, it's endless what you can do there.
Yeah. And what I really liked was when you run a report, if you click on you could click on the person's name, and then it opens up the page and shows you their charts, and you could view the charts however you want to chart. I mean, it's very flexible in the way that kind of works. And you could also create pretty much any report that you like, right?
Yeah, it has a custom report builder. You just drag and drop the fields around. Like I want to show the first name and the last name and the birth date. And there's a criteria section where you say, maybe I want to show everyone born before 1860 or everyone whose last name starts with S or something like that. And if the report generator isn't enough for you, and structured query language or SQL, you can enter your own SQL query down at the bottom there. So no limit on that either.
Yeah. Is there any limit to the number of records that you can put in?
There's no programmatic limit. I will say that the more records you put in there, the more you're taxing the system. So maybe if you got like over 100,000 records, maybe you'd start to see some things be a little slower. It all depends on your server. If you've got a super robust server somewhere, then you could probably go higher. I know of several people who have done more than 1 million records at a time, and they're perfectly happy with how it performs. So
Wow,
yeah.
that's a lot of records.
Yeah, it kind of depends on your setup a little bit, I think.
And so in my case, I'm the administrator. I made you an administrator, so you could peek in there if I asked you to do it. But how do people go about sharing the data or having other people, contribute to the trees?
Sure. Yeah, you can set up any number of different user accounts on your site. So if you have relatives that you want to allow them to make changes to, you could give them add, edit, delete rights. They could log in and make those changes. Maybe you have some people you don't quite trust that much. You could give them what I call submitter rights so that they can submit a possible change, but you, the administrator, will have to approve it before it becomes live. Anybody who comes to your site can also click on a suggest tab that's there and fill out a little form that will send you an email. You'll get an email saying whatever they think you need to change or add. So that's another way you can communicate with the people who use your program.
Right. And now, now I set mine up because I wanted to share it with people from my mom's two towns in Italy, Torito and Acquaviva dell'Infanti. But can you have separate trees within there and people have access to one tree or another tree?
That's right. Yeah, a tree in TNG is an independent data set. So one tree doesn't really talk to another. You can't link them together, but you can have as many of those independent trees on your site as you want. And then maybe you have people in one city who are contributing to the one tree and your other city are contributing to your second tree. And you can assign the users to a particular tree. So then if they have those add, edit, delete rights, it would only be valid for their assigned tree.
Yeah, and that's what I really like about it, which differs from some of the other online applications where it's just not that flexible.
Okay. Yeah,
And
and you can have you could even have other user accounts that don't have edit rights. Maybe you or just want to lock your site down and only make it visible to your family or the people in your society. Then you could require a login and give people a guest account. So they log in and then they can see everything, but they just can't make changes.
yeah, yeah. And that's good. I guess that protects everybody, or if you want to keep certain things, because that's kind of what I'm thinking about is what I did is I downloaded my big giant tree and then I went through and cleaned it up and it was pretty easy to clean it up because you could go in there and I knew what cities I didn't want in there, what people I didn't want in there, and you could just search it, select all, and delete those people out, and just and again, I know I'm repeating this over, but it's so quick, it's so fast, it's
Right,
really
just
really
go
good.
crazy, and also there's a backup utility. So I recommend you use the backup utility and back up your changes every now and then. So if you do make a mistake somewhere, then you can restore your backups.
Right. That's great. So for people who want to purchase the package, where do they go?
They can go to tngsitebuilding.com. And when they get there, just click on the link at the top that says purchase. There's also some frequently asked questions, a page all about the various features that you'll find there. You can even try out a demo. It's like a site with all you can go into the administration area and see how you'd add things. It won't let you actually make changes, but you can go through it all and see how it all works. So there's also a
Right.
page of that's got some sample user sites, so you can see what the finished product looks like for some people.
Right. And once you do that, it also gives you the link to the Simply hosting too, right?
Yep, that's at the bottom of the page at tngsitebuilding.com. You can go check them out as well.
All right. Well, Darrin, I appreciate you taking the time. And believe me when I tell you this is going to be the best site for genealogy that you've ever tried. And I've tried several.
Awesome. Thanks.